Hello. Hi, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. How's everyone doing? I'm Ilya from VanHack, and I'm really excited to be joined by Sana from Spring today. Before we get into it, as always, just want to do a quick sound check. We're going to be talking about the startup visa program, how you guys can move and bring your startup to Canada and get a permanent resident visa. So it's pretty exciting. So just quickly, where's everyone, or can everyone hear me? Sorry. Can you hear me? Just if you can say yes, that'd be awesome. Just in the chats, please let us know if it's working. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is this working? Yes. Okay, great. Cool. Thanks, Andre. Thanks, Roy. Thanks, everybody. Cool, guys. Awesome. So we can begin. So I'm really excited to do this webinar for many reasons. The first one is as an entrepreneur, I really believe that Canada needs more entrepreneurs, and Canada is an amazing place to launch a technical company, or I should say a startup company, not so technical. And this program, the startup visa program, I've known about it for a long time, and it's been we can go more in detail, but it's been around for a while, but it's only really now starting to pick up steam and really get better and be more accessible to entrepreneurs like yourselves. So really excited today to have Sana here from Spring. Sana is taking over for Keith, who's on the webinar schedule, but Sana's been working with him, and she knows all about the program, so she'll be able to help. She's joining us from Vancouver. So hi, Sana, how are you?
Hi, everybody. Really nice to meet you all. And as Ilya mentioned, Spring has become a designated incubator this year to offer the Startup Visa program. And we're really excited to kick off our initial cohort later this year. We'll get into some details about the application, but for us, this program is really about solidifying our values and mission of making impact entrepreneurship mainstream and really connecting with entrepreneurs all over the world who are looking to grow their businesses in North America. So I'm actually leading the program for Spring, so we'll be happy to answer any and all questions you have on this front. So looking forward to kick things off. Fantastic.
Awesome. And I just want to confirm, can everyone hear us? I saw some people said they couldn't. Maybe try refreshing, but it should be working. It seems like for most people it is working. Okay, great. So before we get any further, tell us a little about Spring. What is Spring? What is it all about? And give some background on the organization, please.
Sure. So Spring is a global startup school. And we were founded to really bridge the gap between tech entrepreneurs who were starting to want to do business in a more impactful way, and impact entrepreneurs who were increasingly starting to use technology as a way to grow and scale their business. Over the last 3.5 years, through a series of programs, workshops, events, conferences, all kinds of touch points, we worked with over 430 entrepreneurs, seen about over 220 companies being created, almost 200 jobs added to the local economy. And we run 2 funding programs for the last 2 years. Through those, we've seen about $8.5 million in early stage funding being raised by companies. And within Spring, I am Spring's Chief Impact Officer, which means I get to focus on all things funding, all things impact, and all things that relate to help us moving the needle on our mission and strategy. We have subject matter programs that are more in sales, marketing, as well as really segmented to meeting the entrepreneurs where you're at. So right away from idea all the way to growth stage.
Very cool. And just a disclaimer, or maybe some information, I actually used to work for Spring. It was the best job I ever had, and it was a lot of fun helping other entrepreneurs launch their businesses, and definitely one of my favorite, or if not my favorite organization in Vancouver. So you guys definitely are in for a treat with this webinar, and of course with the program. So yeah, I just shared, Sana, your LinkedIn here in the chat with people. People are asking more about you, so you're definitely gonna get some connections. So guys, if you haven't already, click on the link just down here and connect with Sana on LinkedIn. You know, just it's always good to be networking, right? We like to say network to get work, or to get a job, or network to get a business into Canada, even I guess in this case. And I'm also going to put you on full screen because I think you're the main speaker here, and I'm just going to be doing interview. I think this is a better setup. Cool. Okay, cool. So some just logistics and housekeeping there, guys. Okay, great. So Spring is a startup school that helps impact businesses grow. And so tell us, you said global startup school. Tell us about the global reach, because I know a lot of people here are not from Canada. They're not in Vancouver. They want to go to Vancouver. But you know, how is Spring working with people all over the world?
Sure, good question. So we are based in Vancouver, as Ilya mentioned, but we are active in 30 cities across the world. And so how that works is that we work with city partners, and they could be a co-working space, they could be an impact hub, they could be an organization such as ourselves that is supporting entrepreneurs. And they will either license our content or we support them to help build out their ecosystem. And currently we have about 6 anchor cities, and that's defined by ones who are really active. And so that would include the likes of Impact Hub Seattle, Lagos, Nigeria, Liberia, Monrovia, Tokyo, Philippines, and one of the most important recently has been Impact Hub in Belgrade. And so depending on the needs of those ecosystems and the types of entrepreneurs, either they choose to run more early stage programs, or they take from the growth and capital raising side of things. We also do projects to really help build out the ecosystem and community. And so that's one layer of our global reach. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, the impetus behind being part of the Startup Visa program was that we really have this vision of supporting impact entrepreneurs wherever you are. And Canada and BC is a wonderful place to set up a business because there's so much great support. And so through this process, we're able to put out a global call for applicants wherever you might be, and provide you a path by which you can actually come to Canada and explore growth in the North American market.
Very cool. So I just so let's get into the program. I just shared another link there to the program. And guys, if you have any other questions during the talk, please ask. So let's get into it. I think everyone's here to listen to learn more about this program. So basically, this is the first time the program is being run. Tell us about it. What's the goal? You know, just give a brief overview of the program.
Sure. So as Ilya pointed out, the Startup Visa program has been around for about 3 years, and it's been its pilot phase. It's one that we decided to become part of this year. And there was recently news that the immigration minister has mandated that they want to make this program permanent. And so there's a nice long-term value that is being seen about this program, speaking to job creation and the impact on innovation to the Canadian economy. And these are things that are consistent with our goals as an impact organization. And so the way that we've devised our program, and maybe just to take a step back, the Startup Visa program has 3 key streams. One, if you're funded by a venture fund. One, if you get investment from an angel investor. And then the third being acceptance into a program by a accelerator incubator. And so we fit into that third category. Our program is the only one currently that is focused on impact businesses. And so what I mean by that is that you are an entrepreneur who is focused on a societal challenge. You're mission first. You're trying to make the world a better place. And you may or may not be using technology as a way for you to do that. So that's our first screen on mission and impact. And then we've decided to focus on 5 key sectors: clean tech, healthcare, progressive food, sustainability, and the arts/creative economy. We're looking for putting together a cohort of up to 6 companies, a minimum of 4. And the way our program is structured is it's 4 months, it's in person, and we'll start in November. The first 2 weeks are about just setting a foundation. What does it mean to be in Canada? How do you grow a business here? What are the things that you need to know about the culture, about the way business works? Then to really identify what are the specific needs of each of the entrepreneurs in the cohort. So more sales or marketing or product. And then we're going to bring in partners really get to focus on their burning issues and figure out how they're going to grow their businesses. And then at the back end, we'll spend some more time on the impact measurement side, as well as on capital raising needs. It'll culminate in a showcase event. And once you graduate, you're part of our community. And you've had support not only from ourselves, but from our legal, accounting, financial, other partners as well. So it's a very well-rounded program. And also it's really about being customized enough so that we get to focus on the things that you're really looking to unlock as a company. And just if I can add on the logistical side, we are currently screening applicants. Our deadline is actually August 9th, which is next week. And then a week from then, we'll be making offers to successful applicants.
Exciting. That's really cool. So yeah, I mean, what does successful applicants look like? What's the necessary company? How long does that company have to be in business for? Exactly, who you were looking for? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our first screen is really that impact layer. Are you fundamentally trying to create a business or working on a business that's going to make the world a better place? That's the first screen. And then secondly, we're focusing on companies that are more than an idea. So you have to have been through some form of validation with your customers, be beyond an MVP stage. And it could either be that you, in your home country, already have an existing business, an existing product, existing market, and you're looking to expand into North America. Or, we've had applicants who are good fit, who have done that in their home country. And what they're looking to do in Canada is to set up a new entity, but use all that validated proof that they have already accumulated. So that would be the second screen. Mm-hmm. And then the third is to be in those 5 key sectors. And then how the process works is that you apply for the program. If you fit those parameters, Then I set up a follow-up call or ask for additional material to review. And then we have a selection committee that will help us make that final decision. But an ideal company in a simple level is one that is mission aligned, early to growth stage. So if you are just in the beginning conception phase of, I think I want to come up with a new way of manufacturing sunglasses, you're probably too early. But if you've already done that, then that could be make you a better fit.
Cool, very cool, awesome. So you have to have at least some kind of measurable impact, and as well as an actual company that has proof of concept or some kind of validation from the market. So guys, if you have an idea, unfortunately that's not good enough. You have to actually have something tangible. Yeah, I'd be curious to see if anyone does. And if you have any questions about that, please ask, guys. Would you have any cases of companies that recently joined the program? Yeah, actually, that's a great question. Are there any kind of, I can answer that quickly, but so Wander, good question. This is the first time the program's ever being run, but I know Spring has a lot of alumni companies. Maybe on your website there's some examples, right? Or maybe you can talk about some of those examples.
Sure. I mean, so yeah, you're right. This is the first time that we're running the Startup Visa program. But if I were to think about, let's say, if you were to, going to our website example, if you were to look at a company, for instance, called Nourished Babe, they have a product or an app, I should say, which is for pre- and postnatal nutrition for women. And so if I were to be screening them right now as a potential applicant for this program, they would pass the first screen because they are working on, nutrition related to pregnant women, which is a societal issue. There's a values alignment. There's an impact element. They're in the criteria of being a healthcare company. Now, talking about proof of traction. So where they are at right now is that they have passed their beta stage with early customer discovery and have secured some strategic partnerships with, health organizations, insurance companies, as well as some more consumer-facing routes. So yes, it's early, but it's one where there are some underlying contracts that show that they are just beyond an idea, and they have an actual app that's been built out. So that would probably be a good example of a company that would be a good fit.
Cool, awesome. Eliash is asking here, is there a place for pure tech companies or companies that are working with new technologies like the HoloLens?
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that we don't have companies that are pure tech. I think for this program, the screen is impact first. So, it would really warrant taking a closer look at the type of tech and what you're going to be doing with it. And again, if we're not the right fit for you on this program, we're happy to also make introductions to maybe a more pure tech incubator, because that's the other thing about us. Like, we want to help entrepreneurs all over. So hopefully you're the right fit. If not, we can open other doors for you.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, I guess what really is kind of the program. You mentioned that you kind of went through it a little bit, but kind of what's the goal? Like at the end of the program, what are they going to have? Like, let's say fast forward to graduation, what's going to be kind of the stage, and also I think would be really interesting to talk about the visa process.
We'll ask your first question with what's like the outcome of the program. I think the goal is that if we have between 4 and 6 companies who start this program who are either have moved an existing business or are setting up this new business, which has the validated proof, etc. So everyone will be at a similar stage. Through the course of the program, we would have had a chance to focus on the key business challenges, as well as to really put a good foundation for operational success. So the right accountants, the right lawyers, the right channel partners, etc. Things will be nicely set up. And so at the end of the 4 months, with to varying degrees depending on how people push themselves as well, we would hope that everyone has built up that foundation, have secured some early sales channels, conversations, etc. They're at a place where maybe they're also ready to start thinking about raising some capital. That is at the back end of our program. So maybe they're even at a point where 1 or 2 of them are actually thinking about some growth capital. So I think you'll see a spectrum in terms of the outcomes. At a base level, I think everyone will have a good foundation of up their business with all the right pieces to make sure that they're set up for doing business in Canada and secured some of those early wins.
Cool, very cool.
Yeah, sorry, you're going to ask, but I was just going to say the next question on the visa side of things. So the way that works is that I think it's important to think of this process as a corporate and an immigration process. Once the successful applicants are notified, we're able to send over the commitment certificate and the term sheet, which is part of the application that you start off with the whole package of the startup visa. Now, for some people, if we can indicate that they need to be here as soon as possible, we're able to request for a work permit at the same time. And so even if your application for permanent residency takes up to 5 months, then we can apply, we can say we need a work permit and there's a separate application, then you can be here physically sooner than your PR. And on that front, the one thing that we've talked about with so legal partners is that we will be able to connect successful applicants with those providers to help them with that process. Because, you know, the truth is that for the immigration process to be as smooth as possible, you have to ensure that you fill out everything, that you have all the right forms, all the right supporting documents, and similarly for the corporate side, to make sure that you have, you know, the right structures in place, etc. So it's the program plus the immigration aspect, and we would be able to support you by connecting you with partners that we trust to be able to give you that support.
Cool, cool. So first you get a work visa and then you get the PR after. Is that right?
Because the PR process takes a little bit longer. And so we can indicate on the application that we want the candidate to be here sooner, so you could get a work permit.
Very cool.
My only caveat to everything is that it's still the government. It's still immigration. So we can do what we can. We still have to trust the process.
Wow, very cool. We just got a question here, or a comment from Cassio, that he just got into Kamloops Innovation Center but the headquarters must be in Vancouver. Wow, that's really cool, Cassio. Commons Innovation is great. I would actually send me an email. I'm curious to hear more about your company. And might be a good
Cassio and I actually talked already.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Hi, Cassio.
Cool, awesome, great. Glad connections are being made. This is great. So yeah, best of luck, Cassio. I hope either you get into this program or somewhere else, or have success in your journey. So great. Yeah. So okay. So I just want to make sure that everyone's really clear on this. So if you get accepted, you will get a PR eventually, but first you get a work permit, and then afterwards you'll get the permanent residence. So I mean, guys, that is just really incredible. So if you do fit into this program, I completely urge you to apply, because it's probably the best way. Not only will you get to move to Canada, you'll get a permanent residence, which usually takes a lot longer than this. Years in Canada, but right now you get it right away. And also, you don't just go there and get a job. You actually go there and start your own business, and are super connected with a lot of really good, people and partners and promotion partners to help you grow. Cool. So, and I also see Joan already asking for a job with Cassio, which is hilarious. So yeah, Van Hackers hiring Van Hackers. That's really cool. Cool. So, talk about the 4 months. Bruno just asked, maybe you can go a little bit more detail about kind of for 4 months, how that program looks like. I know you talked about it a little bit already, but maybe just like step by step what that process is.
Sure. So as I mentioned, we are just fleshing out some of those details, but how I envision it looking is the first 2 weeks will be acclimatization. So a focus on, hey, Canada, what are you about? How do I get to know you? How do I get to do business here? And really just setting a good foundation. So there will be some business and also cultural nuances, because, things are different everywhere. So we start off with that. And then consistent with our approach at Spring, which is very much action orientation. We don't want to spend time on like lectures or sitting there telling you, this is how you do digital marketing. We would prefer that basically we figure out from each of the founders where you're at. What are you struggling with? What do you need? And then we have a learning management system that everyone will have access to, with all these different pieces of content. And over the next 3 to 9 weeks or 8 weeks, you'll have a chance to have access to that content, but then also access to an entrepreneur in residence and to mentors and subject matter experts to help you work on those key challenges. And bear in mind that we're going to have you in our space. So you're going to be with us. We're there to support you one-on-one. And it'll probably be like 2-hour sessions, maybe a day. But then the rest of the day is you working on your business.
Cool.
Knowing that you have us and our partners to have access to. And then, as I mentioned at the back end, we'll try and bring some of that learning together, and then focus a little bit more on the impact and impact measurement side of things, and also on the capital raising elements.
Awesome.
And the other thing that we are currently in the midst of, and have been doing for a while, is we're always constantly running different events, as Ilya can probably speak to. And these are, topical. They're community events. So as a participant in that program, you'll have access to all of that. So you'll get to really network and get to know the local startup community. The beauty about Vancouver is that it's pretty small, but it's very, very active. And so there's lots that you can plug into to really upgrade your knowledge and get to know the community. And that's our goal, is to really provide you a platform for you to feel connected and to know where you can go to get the right support.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that that's probably the biggest value, is the network, right? And so having, like I mentioned, worked at Spring and had a lot of experience there, I know that there's always something happening every week, every 2 weeks. There's a meetup, there's an event, there's a talk. And then also not just at Spring, in the entire Vancouver community, every day there's something happening. So I think an opportunity like this will definitely be life-changing. You get a visa, you get all the connections you need and support to launch your company and grow it in the Canadian market. So again, guys, just apply, and I definitely encourage you to see what'll happen. Cool. So what are some tips maybe that you could share with people that you'd love to see from them as they go through the application process?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the form that we've set up on our website is fairly straightforward. I have tried to also include some immigration screening questions like, have you written an English test, or X and Y, because there are, again, this is also an immigration process. And so, for example, if you haven't written an English test, and if you look at the application package, it's a requirement if you haven't a certain a level of English, for instance. So that could be something to start to think about that you need to work on, so that you can, it would expedite your application, basically. And when it comes to the application itself, I think my best advice is really be careful and passionate about how you want to communicate your impact. If you're not in one of those 5 sectors, probably isn't going to happen. And then the third thing is, again, going to back my first point, just if you are just at the stage where you're starting to think about an idea, you would be too early for us.
Cool. Awesome. So be passionate in your application and have something tangible to show. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. So, is this, I guess, with this program, like, have you seen other programs like this before? Maybe some success cases of other entrepreneurs that have been able to come to Canada and be able to have success. Do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, so I believe that, and this is the interesting part, because the Startup Visa program is allowed to bring in 2,700 applicants a year. So far, there's only been 120.
Wow.
So there's huge space. I think that because there are different streams, it's a little bit disjointed. I know that there are lots of efforts right now to make it an even more robust program. Of the 120 applicants, I believe 85 have ended up coming and successfully setting up businesses in Canada. And as far as I remember, a successful case is one through Highline VC, or Highline Beta, which is a venture fund / incubator. And the company that they helped bring here is now thriving and growing in Toronto. And that's just one example. So there's definitely a few others. I think the fact that the pilot program is being extended into perpetuity is also a sign that the government believes that this is an important avenue. There's also been a lot of other programs like a cluster funding initiative, a new innovation fund. There are so many tax credits, different government programs. And so all the pieces are working together to make sure that Canada is an attractive destination. And I think this program in particular is one that allows for organizations such as ourselves to help share all that we've already learned and built on with a whole new stream of entrepreneurs.
Nice, very cool. There's also a company I just remembered from South Africa. I think it's called House, something like this.
That's the one, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. That they were such a Kickstarter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're talking the same one. Yeah. So because I thought they were in Vancouver, but yeah. So they were, so a company came from South Africa and then was bought by Kickstarter, which is from New York. And so yeah, it's really cool to see a company be able to grow in Canada and then be acquired and yeah, continue growing as well. So very, very interesting.
The other thing to add is that the process allows applicants to bring up to 5 team members. And also if you have family, so spouse, dependent children, they're part of the same application. And I think the other key difference is that if you come here, you set up your business and it fails, your PR cannot be revoked.
That's cool.
And so that's very different compared to, let's say, a program in the US or in New Zealand, I believe, where they can take it back. Here they can't. Here they want you to stay.
It's actually permanent.
It's actually permanent.
as the title applies. Cool. Implies. Yeah, so basically that's actually a really great point. I just want to highlight that, guys. So if you didn't, like, just to really hammer that home, so you have 5 team members, so 5 people, plus family members on top of that. So let's say 5 co-founders of the company, each one had 3, family members. So that'd be like 20 people total who could come into Canada through this, all with PRs. So of course that's an extreme case, but just as an example, there's so much opportunity here for you and your team and your family to come to Canada. So Bruno says he won't be able to sleep tonight because he's going to keep thinking about ideas and try next time. Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, just for everyone who's here, I know a lot of people come to Canada through studying, and I highly recommend this versus studying because it's probably the same cost, and the benefit is way bigger. You arrive in Canada, you have a job, your own business, and you have the support to help you grow that, and then you get a PR right away versus waiting a year or more. So I really do recommend, even if you don't have a business right now, maybe next year or in the future, you will be able to come to Canada with this visa. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, and actually that's a good point, Ilya, because this for us is an inaugural version of this program. And so obviously we really want it to be successful. We'd be looking to either repeat the program only once a year, or if we get a lot of interest, we might do it twice a year. So right now we're doing an intake for the program starting in November, and I believe we'll try again for May, and then potentially we can do another cohort again in the fall. So this is just the beginning.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah, so guys, if start working on your ideas right now, and maybe not for November, but for May, you might be accepted. So impact opportunity, impact company, based company, working in those fields. Make sure, if you haven't checked out the form, I've shared it a couple times here. I'm going to broadcast it again just for everyone to see. Should be a link there. You can see all the information, things you can do to sign up and to apply. Yeah, good luck. One question that came here from Diego, which I really liked, was, do all 5 people have to be co-founders and business partners in the company, or can team members come as well?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And as far as memory serves, there's 2 stipulations. One, that the amount of ownership that is being transferred to Canada is over 51%, I believe. And in terms of voting rights, is at least 10%. You can just verify those details. But yes, if it fits those criteria, so it doesn't only have to be founders. it can also be team members.
Oh, that's really cool. Wow. So let's say you have a company and you have 4 employees and you want to bring your employees with you to Canada, you can actually do that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. Okay, guys, definitely go out and start businesses or go work for a business here. So that's really cool. Great. So I just want to open up now to questions. We have about 10 minutes left, everyone. Thanks for being here with us and learning about this program. I hope it's been helpful and definitely super exciting news. So if anyone has any questions about the program, the visa, also the Vancouver Canadian startup scene, the tech market, please ask now. We have Sana here for another 10 minutes. We want to make sure we learn as much as possible from her. So yeah, any questions, guys? Guys, I could just keep going then. Okay, so yeah, I see Bruno and Juan are networking already, which is great. Cool. So maybe we can just talk about that in general. Is the Vancouver tech scene? What are you seeing in terms of trends, companies, kind of news that's happening in Vancouver?
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver honestly is such a cool place because not only is it the most beautiful place in the world to live, but it also has, for such a small area, it has such a tight-knit community and there's so much going on. So on any given night, there's at least 4 things for you to pick from. So whether it's a mingler with women in tech, or a session on how to raise money or how to grow your business, there's tons and tons of things. What's also interesting is that there's a lot of collaboration. So, you know, we're not the only ones to offer this type of program or other types of programs, but we do things together. So for instance, in August and September, we're going to be doing a capital program with the Vancouver Economic Commission, New Ventures BC, Highline Beta, and work with 16 growth stage companies to help them with their next round of capital. So there's innovative programs that come up all the time. There are different competitions that happen, whether it's New Ventures BC, which is a great competition. There's some funding attached with that. Or forums that are more focused on either, as I said, women in tech or indigenous cultures, etc. So there's lots of different things going on. We've seen the likes of Founders Institute set up base here in Vancouver. So that's a global organization. Startup Grind has a local chapter. They have an event tonight. And so there's also cross-border events and cross-border intelligence that finds its way to different events too. So we are small and do lots of good things, but we are also not insulated. So it's very vibrant. People are very open to connecting, communicating, sharing. Lots of different programs, lots of different things to choose from. And again, I can't underemphasize the government incentives related to hiring grants, tax credits, et cetera, that can really make it a very attractive financial decision.
Yeah, definitely.
One caveat I have to say is that Vancouver is an expensive city. So when you are thinking about moving here, definitely have to factor that in, the living costs, into your cost of living.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of cities around the world like San Francisco, New York, London, Hong Kong, all Toronto, all kind of in the same boat.
Totally.
Yeah. So cool. So I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry. Abdezamed. I'm sorry. I'm really pronouncing that wrong. I just want to say you do have to have more than just an idea to apply for the program. You have to have an actual company, some kind of traction, validation, as we talked about, and also has to fit into the into the criteria. One question I saw, I'm not sure, I'm scrolling here, was from Daniel asked, what is progressive food? What is that all about?
So the kind of food businesses that we're talking about is, so for instance, someone who's working on raw vegan chocolate. So basically you're trying to do food in a new innovative way that's going to be better for the planet. So things like that. Or basically like you could be a meal delivery service. So it's more tech. You have less to do with the food. Maybe you're using only solar generated bikes to transport food.
Cool. Yeah, very Vancouver. Cool. Okay, yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Daniel. So something new. Not a burger restaurant. We don't need more McDonald's.
No more McDonald's, no.
Yeah. Cool. Wanda is asking, what's the considered validation of a business? That's an interesting question.
What was the question, sorry?
What does validation for a business model look like? You know, is there some specific criteria you have, or is it more just
that's a tough one, and that's one that basically I assess when I have a follow-up call, or when I see an executive summary or a pitch deck, or do some backdoor due diligence on the company. So, for example, I've had some applicants where they say that they have a business, and then I go to the website and it doesn't work. So there's a problem there. But the screen is that there's something that exists, and it's figuring that. So I also had a conversation. Health tech, I do think that is, they have only validated in the US context. And so, yes, they have some proof of traction, but because it's health, because they want to sell to the government, it's one that's probably not a good fit because health. So, I always hate to say it depends, but.
So, opportunity, how far along you are, but of course, the better. Right? So, are only 6 spots, and to companies that are more further along, and really definitely have a website in English. Probably translate before applying. Just a few more minutes, and just want to if there's anything we haven't covered, you want to know about the program, the floor is yours.
Sorry, you kind of cut off for that last.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you have any last words or any advice or any information, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ilya, for organizing this for us and for us. It's partners such as yourselves, both here, and we are excited to get the message out. This program is a very interesting and almost emotional journey for me, because I get to talk to people who are really interested in moving their entire lives to a whole new country and looking to establish a new life. And, I've been an expat and I'm a migrant. I know what that feels like. So it's amazing to connect with people at this very human level. But at the same time, there is a process. And it's the first time that we're doing this. So we also have to make sure that we're screening people and picking the ones who fit all those criteria. Mm-hmm. So my advice is really, put your passion into the application. If it doesn't work out this time, maybe in 6 months you'll be more ready. This program is here to stay. It has government backing. We are very excited to work with all of you when the time comes. We have the right structure in place, the right support from our partners, and I think it's gonna be a pretty interesting and fun journey coming up.
Definitely, I'm really excited.
Of course, if you have any questions, just send me an email.
Yeah, is it okay if we share your email here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Cool. So just let me get it.
Just sana@spring.is.
Yeah, really easy. Cool. So, and also if you haven't added Sana on LinkedIn already, I'm just going to put, so we're expecting some requests. Last thing here, Diego asks about 2% of the company vest over 4 years. Can you talk about that quickly?
Sure. So basically, similar to what we do with our capital raising program, where we take advisor options in the company. And that's basically as a way to really commit that we're just as much in this with you. And the reason that it's mimicked on a stock option and thus vesting over 4 years is because we want to give you that option that, let's say, you know, after a year, you're like, I don't see as much value. Then we can talk about changing that up. But it's also to give you some confidence that we're in it for the long haul. Right. And we're here to make sure that you're successful.
Really cool. So just so everyone knows, I actually said before that there is no equity cost. I misspoke. There is a 2% equity cost, and that 2% of equity is given across 4 years. So when you talk about vesting, it means that you only earn that every 0.5% per year. So 0.5 times 4 years, and you can stop that after 1 or 2, 3 years. And so
exactly.
Yeah, it's up to you as the entrepreneur. If you want to keep working directly with Spring or not. I definitely think that most people will, or everyone will, because there's a lot of value there. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that at all, guys. You're going to get a lot more value from working with Spring and the team there than just the 2% of your company. Okay, great. So I just want to be respectful of your time, Sana. I know we're at the end here. Thank you so much for sharing this amazing program with us. You'll probably be getting a few emails in the next couple of hours and a lot of LinkedIn requests. So guys, don't be shy. I know that this is probably a big thing, but if you have a company, if you're passionate about changing the world and making it a better place, and you want to live in an amazing city like Vancouver, I think this program is for you, and I wouldn't hesitate to apply. I would definitely apply. You have nothing to lose. So yeah, thanks again, Sana, and I'll see you in Vancouver, and hopefully see someone here from the webinar in Vancouver as well in the program.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody on the call, and thanks again, Ilya.
You got it.
On behalf of everyone at the Spring team, hopefully we'll get to meet some of you soon.
Cool. Cheers. Talk soon.
Bye.
So I'm going to stick around, guys, for the next few minutes here, and just answer any questions you guys might have, or VanHack or anything like that. So hi, everyone. Post-game interview now. So if you guys have any questions, I'll take questions, maybe not for super long, but yeah, if you have any questions about getting a job, English, LinkedIn profiles, resumes, whatever it might be, startups, tech, moving, investors, anything, I'm here to for a few more minutes to talk. So if you just want to chat and write a question, great. If there's no questions, that's cool too. But let me know if you have any questions about anything, can be big, small. Happy to always help in any way that. So any questions? Anyone curious about anything? How did you like the webinar? Was it good? Did you enjoy it? I see some people saying thank you. So Bruno, Robson, Daniel, Wander, Eligio, Daniel again, João and João. Cool. Yeah. So João has a question. Cool. Thank you. Glad you liked it, Robson. So Joanne asks, how can you improve your English with VanHack? So I guess the biggest thing English with VanHack is through our interview practice sessions. There's one happening right now. We have 2 sessions every night from Monday to Thursday. That's 8 hours a week, 32 hours every single month in VanHack Premium, which is only 65 Canadian dollars. So basically it's $2 an hour for a Canadian English class with a native speaker. All of our teachers are native English speakers, and you do a group class. So basically, you will be speaking, with a group of people, let's say 10 to 15 other VanHackers with a professor, and you all practice your interview skills. So not only are you practicing conversation, you're also practicing conversation for job interviews. And we've had many VanHackers kind of start with intermediate beginner English, get up to a good level of English, and then get hired. So that's how you can improve. We have an example of VanHack interview practice on our VanHack Premium page, which is vanhack.com/premium. You can check it out here. That's there. Cool. And we also work, another thing I guess is we also work one-on-one with you a lot, answering your questions, typing in English with that too. And that also helps improve your English too. How much is necessary to open a company in Canada? Pablo, opening a company in Canada is super easy. It costs maybe $200-300. You can do everything online. You just have to have a Canadian partner for that. But if you want to immigrate, so opening a company in Canada will not let you immigrate. So this is very important. When people, there's kind of, the reason that this program, the webinar was really cool and this program is so interesting is that it'll actually give you a Canadian visa, Canadian permanent residency, which is incredible. Because this is one of the only programs that lets you do that. Otherwise, you can open up a company in Canada, but this will not, this will not guarantee or help you any way with immigration. So this program specifically helps you with immigration, and you get a PR. So Pablo, I hope that answers your question. Cool. So Abdo, is a junior developer, Java. Cool. 2 years experience. Yeah, that's really great. Cassie, no, I unfortunately don't choose. I'm just a kind of I'm not super involved. I'm a mentor, but I'm not involved. It's more people on the team with Spring that choose who the stars will be. So Abdo, just sorry to answer your question. I definitely think that it's 2 years experience is good enough to get a job in Canada. So especially if you have a master's degree. So yeah, definitely. It's a good idea for you to apply for jobs in Canada. And of course, if you need some more help with VanHack Premium, for sure it can help. I guess other questions here. Bruno, let's say you have a few clients, the only resource is kind of your chance of opening a company in Canada and be able to move there. You could open a company in Canada and transfer yourself as an employee. I don't really know too much about this, but I think that potentially could be something. So actually, check that out. I don't really know the details, but intercompany transfer could be a way. So Pablo, maybe I was wrong when I answered that question actually. I have seen cases of people being open a company with significant revenue, actually like a growing company, like a significant company, opening a company in Canada and transferring yourself to move to Canada. This could be a potential thing you can do. So check out the intercompany transfer, Bruno. Cool. So Wander has a great question. Startup companies in Canada able to sponsor work visas? Yeah, actually, one of a VanHacker recently got sponsored. Actually, 2 VanHackers recently got hired at startups. Companies that had one had 0 employees. It was literally just one woman who had a company, and then another one had like 4 or 5 employees. So very small, both the companies, and both of them were able to get into Canada with a new global skills visa. The new visa that is helping tech talent get jobs in Canada within 2 weeks, which is incredible. So yeah, I would definitely say that startup companies are a good option for you to get a job in Canada. There's not many difficulties for them anymore. You just have to share with them this link, which I'll post for you guys here. Find it on the website. So here's the link. So check that out. It shows companies exactly what they need to do that. Cool. Yes. Yeah, so I definitely recommend it. Also, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but all of the jobs on VanHack, I don't know if you've checked out our jobs board, but I highly recommend you apply to jobs at VanHack because all of them sponsor work visa, both in Canada and Europe. NAYAB, missed a major part. Yeah, you won't fit into the program. The program, you'll have to watch the replay, but basically they're looking for impact entrepreneurs, and you don't fit into that running projects. They want someone who's more doing a, like an outsourcing business wouldn't fit into this program. They have more product-based businesses that they're looking for. So yeah, sorry about that, but we can help you get a job in Canada and move this way. So yeah, check out our job board. Cool. All right, guys. Maybe time for one or two more questions here before I take off. It's 2 in the morning here in Germany where I am, so I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah, but really great having everyone on the webinar. If you guys have any questions about anything, you can always email me. Just ilya@vanhack.com. It's my email. I reply to everyone, or someone from our team does. And I really hope you enjoyed the webinar, and I really hope that I get to meet you guys in Vancouver under this program. So please apply. I definitely recommend it. I think it's an amazing program. And yeah, do you have any post stats and graphs? Yes, we do, Wander. So I'll share with that right now. We have actually just hit 200 Van Hackers hired. So we have a public Google Doc with all the VanHack success cases, name and where they're working, and what city they're working in, as well as the what they work with. So you can check that out here. Yeah. No, we don't help with companies. That's not really what our main focus. Our main focus is helping people get jobs, but we can definitely help as well. If you have any questions, Alessandro, just send me an email. I believe business visa works well for the month that you're mentoring. Visas countless and yeah, so check out the business visa. Nice one, Casio. Very cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So if anyone has any questions about anything, send me an email. Really appreciate you guys being on the webinar with us today. We'll have a lot more information, a lot more jobs. We post jobs every week, at least 5-10 new jobs come out. I agree, Wander. It is a great spreadsheet. A lot of people whose lives have been changed there on that spreadsheet. And hopefully, our goal is to get to 300 by the end of the year. We got 100 last year. We hit 100. And hopefully, we will get to 300 this year. So we're looking to double what we did in the last 2 years in this 1 year. So we're at 200 now. And if we get to 300 by the end of the year, I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, and hopefully it'll be one of these, as we like to say. So on the job board, make sure you have another thing really important. If you haven't done so, please complete your VanHack profile. This is super important, and one thing we talk about a lot more is the more data you put in the VanHack profile, the more chances you have of our team finding you and sending your resume to a company that will sponsor your work visa. So make sure you take some time, at least fill in the skills, fill in at least 5 skills or more would be better. And also your resume, that's what you need to do to apply for a job. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go sleep, and I wish you all an amazing day, and for those of you who are in the future, an amazing Friday as well. All right, everyone, thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.